We have this idea, this myth, really, that great companies are built by these singular, brilliant heroes. But what if that's all wrong? What if the greatest leaders don't create followers at all, but instead they build systems that make heroes completely unnecessary? Let's dive into that.
So let's start with a question. When you think of Steve Jobs, what's the first thing that pops into your head? What was his single greatest creation? The iMac? Maybe the iPod? Or, the device that literally changed the world? The iPhone?
Well, the answer might actually surprise you. As revolutionary as the iPhone was, and it really, really was, it wasn't his true masterpiece. His greatest product was something far more durable and way more powerful.
See, while he was battling cancer, Steve Jobs wasn't just thinking about the next product launch. He was designing a company that could outlive him. He was building a system, a culture, a process, a whole way of thinking that was so deeply baked into Apple's DNA that it could keep innovating long after he was gone. His greatest product was a company that no longer needed its hero.
Okay, so how do you actually build something like that? Well, it all starts with what we'll call a cultural system. And the best way to think about this is like building trust directly into a company's operating system.
Let's start with just a number, $2,000. Now, this isn't a price tag for a product. It's actually a statement of trust. It's the entire foundation of one of the most legendary customer service systems on the planet.
This is the famous Ritz-Carlton policy. Every single employee, from the general manager to the person cleaning the rooms, has the power to spend up to $2,000 per guest to solve a problem right there on the spot. But here's the thing. This isn't really a rule about money. It's a system built on trust. It sends a message to every employee that says, we trust your judgment more than we fear your mistakes. It makes heroes unnecessary because the system has already turned everyone into a problem solver.
All right, now let's jump from a luxury hotel to a factory floor. This next system is, believe it or not, even more dramatic. It's just a simple cord, but it holds the power to stop a multi-million-dollar production line in its tracks.
So, at Toyota, any worker on the line can pull what's called the and-on cord, and it brings the entire factory to a halt. In most places, that would get you fired on the spot. But at Toyota, it's celebrated. And why is that? Because it shows the fundamental difference between a hero culture and a system culture. A hero culture asks, okay, whose fault is this? But a system culture asks, how can we make our system better so this never ever happens again?
But it's not just about culture, right? That's only part of the puzzle. Let's look at the next piece, the technical system, or as I like to call it, designing for failure.
Oh man, remember this guy? For years, the fail whale was basically Twitter's unofficial mascot. The whole platform was built so fast that it was incredibly fragile. Anytime there was a big event, it would just crash, and these teams of heroic engineers would have to work frantically through the night to bring it back online. They were constantly fighting fires, absolute heroes in a system that was fundamentally broken.
Now contrast that with Netflix. They took the exact opposite approach. Instead of just waiting for things to break, they created this whole discipline called chaos engineering. It's wild. They literally unleashed something called a chaos monkey that randomly shuts down their own servers, on purpose. They do it to see if the platform can handle the failure. You see the difference? They're not waiting for heroes to fix problems. They're building a system so robust it can heal itself.
So we've seen what good systems look like, but what happens when you build a culture around a single charismatic hero? Well, you get what's called an anti-system, an organization that looks amazing from the outside but is actually incredibly brittle and, frankly, destined to collapse.
Theranos is the poster child for this. It was a complete hero worship culture built entirely around Elizabeth Holmes. In a healthy system, people who tell the truth are rewarded. At Theranos, the messengers were shot. Information wasn't shared, it was hoarded. Fear was centralized. See, when a company's built around one single hero, it just becomes an echo chamber, where problems are hidden and hidden until they become catastrophic.
And WeWork was another perfect anti-system. Every department had its own hero leader, and they were all chasing their own metrics, signing leases, hitting membership targets, you name it. Everyone was a hero in their own little silo. And the result, just like the quote says, 10 departments winning individual games had created one company losing the only game that mattered.
Which brings us to the final and maybe most important part, your legacy. As a leader, you really face a fundamental choice. Are you going to build a system, or are you just going to cast a long shadow? Just think about it for a second. The hero has to be in every single meeting. They have to make every decision, solve every crisis. It's an endless, exhausting burden. A hero's work is truly never done.
But in a well-designed system, the work is continuous. It's distributed. It's owned by everyone. The leader's real job isn't to do the work, but to design the system that enables the work.
And that brings us right back to where we started this whole conversation. Steve Jobs' ultimate legacy. It wasn't a shiny piece of glass and aluminum, no matter how beautiful or revolutionary it was.
It was a culture of excellence, a design process, a set of principles that allowed Apple to not only survive his passing, but to become the most valuable company in the world. Real leadership isn't about being indispensable. It's about building something that makes you obsolete. So, I'll leave you with this one question. Take a hard look at your own team, your own company. Does it rely on a few key people to swoop in and save the day, or is it a robust system designed to succeed no matter who happens to be in the room? Is it built to last, or is it just waiting for its hero to finally get tired?